Can y'all stop leaving your babies home alone while you go on vacation? What the hell? What's up, you guys? Welcome to today's video. As you can tell by the title, I do not have a good feel-good story for you today, but we're going to get into it. If you guys are new here, hi, my name is Jess. I'm a person in long-term recovery who has in fact been to prison. I also have met people that have hurt their children. We'll get into it. If you want to follow me on any other social media platform, TikTok, Instagram, Patreon, that's $2. It's only ever going to be $2. All of that is linked down below, as well as my vlog channel, my Facebook, where to find me on Roku, and my Spotify. Without further ado, let's kick this thing off. Ohio mother Crystal Candelario left her 16-month-old daughter, Jalen, home alone for 10 days while she went on vacation. So apparently, this is not the first time that this mother had left Jalen home alone, and there were a ton of complaints from neighbors saying that Jalen was screaming all the time long before this incident. And there is one clip of a grandmother coming to their door saying, "Hey, I'm a grandmother. I have 4 kids. I've raised my grandkids too. This is not regular crying and screaming." Maybe tell her, the mother, about the story of the boy who cried wolf, because if something is really wrong, we're not going to know that something is wrong because she screams day and night. And, as somebody that had a baby with colic and then acid reflux, and then she started teething, like my youngest, Riley, she cried for a year straight and it was absolutely miserable. It was very hard to calm her down. I understand that babies can be very colicky, and when they start teething, they can be even more upset and they can cry and scream, all that stuff, right? But at the end of the day, it is not okay to leave your baby home alone for 10 days. This mother left this baby alone in a pack and play. No food, nothing. She was completely alone. That means that her diaper was just overflowing, which I can't imagine the excruciating pain that must have caused. But this baby died from starvation. What makes it worse is that when she got home and she realized that Jalen was unresponsive and she had passed away, which she probably passed away. Does it say? I read a couple of different articles, but did it say how long Jalen had been deceased before they realized? Was it a day or two? Well, when Crystal comes home and she realizes that Jalen is unresponsive, she immediately changes her clothes, changes her diaper, all of that, and tries to cover up the fact that she had just been left for so long and she died of starvation, dehydration. You see her in this video that I'll show right now. You see her lying to the police after she's covered up her baby's death.
With no food, just with a meal, because she was refusing. Maybe it's because she get vomited 2 days, before. Yeah. Last night she was crying a lot, and I see one moment when I was take a shower, and she was screaming like So she was screaming like probably for pain or something like that. In this morning when I wake up, I took her in the morning for Jaylene, wake up, and she wake up. And when I see her, I see she looks like a really dry, like a, ¿cómo se dice cuando una persona se chupa? O sea, se.
Oh, like her face was sunken in?
Yeah.
She tries to say that Jalen was awake that morning and she was fine, but her eyes were kind of sunken in. Her eyes were sunken in and her face was sunken in because she starved to death. She starved to death and she was screaming, dying, and she just tries to cover this up by saying, I just gave her some milk. She was fine that day, or she was fine this morning. Now she's not fine. Like, whatever, dude. A lot of her neighbors, said that she could have asked us at any time to watch Jalen, and we would have. English is not her first language. Maybe she didn't feel comfortable asking for help. Maybe she was struggling with postpartum depression and her mental health was struggling. But at the end of the day, I have had postpartum depression. I understand how bad it can get, how bad our mental health can get, especially after we have a baby. And then that baby, if they are very difficult to calm down, like if they're colic and then they had acid reflux, then they start teething like Riley, it is very hard. It takes a massive toll on your mental health. All of that I can understand. I understand struggling with having a baby. What I can't understand is that you knew you were leaving for 10 days. 10 days, and you left that baby in a pack and play with no bottles, no food, no one to come in and take care of that baby, no one to hold her and love on her, no one to change her clothes, no one to change her diaper. She was literally just alone, screaming, left to starve to death while this mom went on vacation. How do you justify that? In what world is that okay? It just kills me. Some of Jalen's final cries were caught on camera, and that's like even more gut-wrenching. It's even harder to know that neighbors have voiced concerns in the past about Jalen just screaming and being left alone. She's left her alone before. I guess she has another daughter or another child. I'm not sure of the gender, but she has another child, and her parents took that other child on vacation just a couple of days before Crystal left Jalen alone in this pack and play. That kind of raises some concerns in my mind, because if the parents knew, or the grandparents knew, that their daughter was not capable of taking care of this baby, why would they leave her alone with their granddaughter? And I know that that's probably not fair to say, but I'm questioning it because there were people around. So if Crystal obviously is going through some mental health issues, the grandparents, and I think they all live together, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but if they knew that their daughter was struggling, why on earth would they leave and take the oldest daughter and leave for however long they left? I would have absolutely taken Jalen with me if I was the grandparents, especially knowing the history of her doing this before, of her leaving Jalen before. Like, that is awful. Like, not everyone that has a child deserves to be a parent. And the case in point right here. It is the most cruel thing that a human being could do, is to leave a baby alone for 10 days to starve to death. Like, oh my God. So I have met women in prison. I was thinking about doing a locked up with video about this one person in particular, because a lot of women didn't think that it was fair that she was in prison. I think it was absolutely fair. So without saying her name or doing a deep dive here in this video, I served time with a woman that she killed her baby, and allegedly it was an accident. So allegedly what happened in this scenario is that she was having a party. She was struggling with alcohol. She had some people over, and her baby would co-sleep with her, which, like, minus the party and alcohol, biggest fear as a parent when I had a newborn. I used to have Riley in bed with me too. And one time, this is taking a turn, I'm sorry, my ADHD brain. I had fallen asleep with Riley in my arms. I was feeding her. I was breastfeeding, and I fell asleep because you know how tired you are after you have a baby and you're trying to feed them in the middle of the night. She had a little sleeper in our room, but I would fall asleep with her all the time. I would co-sleep with her all the time. I woke up and Riley was like at my hip. She had like kind of like, you know, she was up here when I was holding her, but as we fell asleep, she had moved down to my hip and her face was touching my hip. I was terrified that I had just suffocated my daughter, and I grabbed her and picked her up, and she's like, "What, bro?" And I'm like, "Oh, thank God." Obviously she didn't say what, bro. She was a baby. She was like 2 or 3 months old. Terrifying. So this mom that I was serving time with, she was having a party. She had a lot to drink, and she went to bed, and she was co-sleeping with her baby, who was a few months old, I believe. Couldn't have been more than 6 months old, if I am remembering correctly. She rolled over and her baby suffocated and passed away. And a lot of people were like, "Wow, that's not fair that you're here." I will never forget this moment where I met her, and I kind of avoided her ever since, but we were in the hallway getting commissary. And if you're on work detail, you'll go to commissary with other units, because I didn't live with her. It wasn't my unit, but it was a very small facility. So sometimes we would be eating chow at the same time, or we'd be getting commissary at the same time, depending on what our jobs were. Usually you only go to commissary with your dorm, but there are other times where, like, if you're at medical and you miss commissary and you go down, then you're going to be in line with other dorms. I'm taking a wild turn here. But as she got her stuff from commissary and walked away, someone asked, like, "What the hell is she doing here? She doesn't seem like she should be here." And that's when a few of the other girls started talking about her case. And, you know, I spoke up because one girl was like, "Oh, it's not fair that she's here." I'm like, "It's absolutely fair that she's here. What are you talking about? She got drunk and passed out, and her baby suffocated because she rolled over on her baby. It is fair that she's here. That baby's dead." You know, and I have a very firm stance on that. Maybe I'll get some pushback in the comments. I don't know. But if you kill your child because of neglect and because of abuse, you deserve to be in prison, period. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, but I'm going to end today's video here. As always, I love you guys. Stay safe, stay in recovery, whatever that looks like to you. Please do not leave your babies home alone. I feel like I shouldn't have to say that. And I will see y'all in my next one. My battery's about to die. I had to rush it.